Hey guys, we are in for a treat. We have a special guest. This is Kyle Hart here from Rhino Sliders. Is that the name of your company?
It's Rhino Camera Gear.
Rhino Camera Gear. We know him for the sliders, and if you guys remember back years ago, probably about 5 years ago, you sent us the Rhino Slider Evo.
Yep.
That was their electronic slider, and I thought it was just another product review. I kind of opened it live on camera, and that product just kept blowing my mind. And I actually called you right afterwards. We had never spoken before.
Yeah.
And I was like, how did you make this? Because it felt like a product that only a gigantic company would be able to pull off. And you were like, no, me and this one other guy did it. So that blew my mind.
Yeah.
And about a year ago, you came out on Kickstarter with this new product. And that's what we're gonna be talking about today. What's it called?
It's called Arc II.
The Arc II.
Yeah.
And I have been waiting very impatiently for a long time for this to come out. But you called me the other day and you were like, it's finally ready. And I said, why don't you come down to Puerto Rico? Don't just send me one. You come down to Puerto Rico. I've never met you before.
Personal tutorial.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So this is probably gonna be a really long video because we're gonna open up this new product. You're gonna go through every feature one by one. And then in a separate video, we're actually gonna go out and use it. Now, if you guys don't really know what this is and you don't have a long time to sit through this, they can probably head over to your website and just watch a promo video, which quickly goes over this, right?
Yeah.
But if you're like me and you like tech, you like products that are well made, this is definitely going to be a game changer. Even if you're not really into video, I'm almost positive you're going to be excited by this because this thing is awesome. So let's get into it.
Cool, let's do it. For those of you that don't know, we're a small company. We have less than 10 people from accounting to marketing to product design to shipping. We're a small mom and pop shop. But we have 3 of us that are the engineers so I do all the actual hardware design. I do the CAD on the products itself.
And you went to school for this?
No, I went to school for entrepreneurship.
Okay.
Jumped into a sales role with a family business.
How do you do CAD on like the most complex things?
You learn, man. We're 9 years into this thing, and so.
Well, okay. So before we talk about this, how did you create the other one? Because the first one was so impressive as is. I mean, how did you do that? How did you just learn? Like you didn't have 9 years then. So what in the world did you do?
I went to a local high school. I knew nothing. I knew nothing about product development in general. I went to the local hardware store and I was like, oh, maybe I could put these 3 things together and like sell that widget. And then somebody told me you can machine things.
Yeah.
And then somebody told me you can mold things out of plastic and all these different materials. And but for CAD, I went to the local high school, used their 3D printer, and then one of their students actually, I paid him like $20 at Starbucks one day to teach me the basic principles of CAD.
No way.
Which is like you draw a shape, like a sketch, and you extrude it like a cookie cutter. That's it. That's all it is. But then you do that in more complex ways.
Okay, so you took a $20 class from a high school kid,
and then
and now you can create world-class digital products.
Hopefully world-class. I hope you like the new stuff.
So when I saw the promo for this on Kickstarter, it was like a year ago. It blew my mind, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that looks awesome. But I have purposefully not watched anything since then.
Okay, cool.
And when you told me like it's coming, like this is taking longer than we expected, but it's coming, I'm like, all right, I just want to be excited again for the first time. So in all honesty, I don't really remember all of the features of this.
Cool.
So why don't we open it up and we can kind of go through it one by one. I'm excited.
You bet. Cool. All right. This I'm gonna hand this to you so you can feel the build quality. This is Arc II.
Okay.
It's hefty.
Yeah.
So the motors that we use in here are extremely torquey, especially compared to the old system.
And the old one was really powerful too.
It's pretty powerful. I mean, this system can go vertical now. Tilt, you can put up to a 15-pound camera on here.
Wow.
So if you have a cinema camera, it's gonna hold that. Giving you a little bit of a lesson of what's different from the old system. So you used to have the old controller with the loud click knob, right?
Yeah.
And then you could also.
That's funny. I want to mention this. So I was telling my buddy, I've gotten so many people to buy the original Evo, and this buddy of mine, he works in the film industry, and he's like, dude, it has 2 flaws, and I'm like, what are the flaws? Like it's so good. And he was like, first flaw is that I think when you cut it off, it forgets to move maybe, and you have to do it again. So he was like, when I'm on set and I have to rebuild the move and there's like a team of people around, it's a problem. But then the other thing, the clicky button. And I was like, oh, I've never even considered that. He's like, when I'm on set, I can't have things making noise. And I was like, I never even thought about that before. So no more clicky button?
No more clicky button.
What about saving the move?
You can do that. It can do that.
Now, what's exciting about this to me is that it looks like you've got the controllers built in now.
Yeah.
Now, I've used a bunch of other slider systems, and a lot of times they're using the cell phone. Can you do that as well? How does that work?
Yeah, you can do both. So we do have an app for iOS out. I'll show it to you in a minute. Super intuitive, but there's times when you just want to be able to set something up without a phone. You don't have to rely on Bluetooth if it bugs out, if it disconnects. I mean, there's a lot of variables there.
That's my issue.
Yeah, we build professional stuff, and I feel like professionals need actual physical controls.
So, I mean, we've got like Xbox controllers here.
It pretty much is. So this guy controls your pan and your tilt. So if you're setting up keyframes, you're going to move your camera with that. And then this joystick, if you move it laterally, controls your slider, left and right. And then up and down controls your focus. So if you have all 4 axes set up, you're able to, and this was one of the challenges with this new system compared to the old one, is that before we had 2 axes. You slide and you pan.
Yeah.
And we had 2 keyframes. So it was intentionally very simple, which was a great benefit to the user, but now we have 4 axes. So how do we, and eventually up to 5 different keyframes when you're setting up moves. So it's infinitely more complex. So I hope to get a similar reaction out of you where the goal is that everything is quick to set up and easy to use.
Well, that's what I loved about the original setup, was like it's all self-contained.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have issues with the iPhone app, like you were saying. I like the ability, it's like an option here, but sometimes it's like your phone's dying or the Bluetooth isn't working or whatever, and it drops out right when you need it. I love the idea that the controls are built right in. So why don't we go ahead and just start building this out, and you can kind of show me how it works as we go.
Yeah, you bet.
So we'll probably open this in a little bit. This is a like focus pulling mechanism, I would assume.
It's an electronic follow focus that you can keyframe with the rest of the system.
Okay, we'll get to this in a second. I'm just going to set it off to the side for right now. What is this slider called? This
is Rhino Slider.
Okay.
We originally in 2012 started with the Rhino Slider, went to Rhino Slider Evo. Now it's just straight Rhino Slider.
Okay, so you're like
we're back to
iPhone,
our core.
Or iPad.
Yeah. It's the same thing. You don't know what's different about it.
Exactly. Okay, in terms of the case that this comes with, is this able to fit in the case, or this is a separate thing?
That's a great question. It fits.
It does fit.
So we have, I can't believe you have the old case. You have like one of our old Gen 1
Well,
cases.
I would imagine I have the very first thing you ever made, because that's what you sent us.
You do. So this is like a camper pop top. And it allows you basically move your carriage over to one side. You put Arc II on top of it, strap it down. Even with focus connected, you can be run and gun.
Oh, it like go. Oh, okay. So you can keep it
all fits
all
in,
together,
all assembled,
and you don't have to disassemble it and have different parts and stuff.
Exactly.
That's huge.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a couple different workflows that a lot of our customers use. You have your quick run and gun with, like, this is a pretty popular slider that we sell. It's lightweight, it's carbon fiber, looks really cool. But we also sell longer sliders that are 42 inches long that are mainly for, I don't want to say more professional, but like an interview where you have a cinema camera on it. And we actually have a new hard shell case out that fits all the gear in a hard shell case so you can travel with it.
Really?
Yeah. So this is kind of, I'll carry this on the airplane.
Okay.
Strap my tripod to it, and I'm ready to go.
It's got very similar feet here.
It's pretty much the same damn thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So you use the old slider. It's relatively, it's pretty similar.
Let's put them side by side here. So any differences here? I'm noticing a little difference in the mounting mechanism here. Oh, I remember that feature.
Exactly.
We'll talk about that in a second.
We will talk about that.
The motor itself, it looks like we've got a little different shape here. What's the difference here?
Yeah, so this is the old motor. It could go about 4 inches per second. It sticks up really high.
Yeah.
When we mount Arc II to this, if I can grab this, that's an issue if you have Arc II on your slider.
Oh, it like lengthens the amount that you can move right and left.
Exactly. So that was a design change, and then also with this new design, we have some gearing in here that allows us to reduce that 4 inches per second down to about 1 inch per second, and then now you can go vertical with the slider. So previously you could only go about let's say like a 20-degree angle
right.
with a 5-pound weight. Now, including Arc II, you can put up to a 5-pound camera on that and go vertical. Wow. So that coupled with tilt, you can do jib shots. Time-lapse is awesome for that because now you can do inclines and vertical shots.
And then where is the battery located in all of this?
So the battery, we have a 60 watt-hour battery built into Arc II.
Okay.
It's built into Arc II. Arc II powers everything. So Arc II is now your new controller. This button is your back button and your power button. So press that for 3 seconds. There we go. So I don't know if you've ever mounted a 501 plate before to your camera.
Yes.
It's a pain.
Yes.
Right? So pull this little guy out. There's a little mounting tool. Just pull it straight out. So this is built into the unit. It's basically, we call it a mounting tool. It's also a bottle opener, which I say when people laugh at me, but I like beer quite a bit. Yeah. But this will mount both your 501 plate to your camera. So to get that off, there's a lever here. So lift that lever up and then push that button in on the side. It's just like a 501 plate. So this is 501 plate compatible. So if you shoot that with video.
They have the finger torque.
They do. They work decently well, but they're not going to secure it well enough if you're shooting on a RED or some kind of heavy camera.
Okay.
The tool really allows you to get in there.
But
you're not fumbling with your keys or a coin.
Yes, exactly. A lot of times my keys are too thick now. Like I can't even get them in there. So this is huge. We've actually completely moved away from using these plates.
Have you?
For this reason alone.
Really?
Because every time we're on location, this thing starts pivoting on the bottom of the camera, and it's like, who's got keys, who's got a coin? I don't carry coins anymore, and we're not able to do it. So we've moved over to another plate that's really small, but I love the fact you have the tool, and you've got the finger screws in the bottom, so you kind of have the best of both worlds there.
So our old system, to mount it to a tripod or to a slider, you would spin it on. This is kind of unwieldy to be able to spin it onto something. So you have the menu set up. This joystick navigates through your menu. So scroll over a couple and stop there. Click in with the joystick. That's how you enter menus. And then we want to mount this on. So go over to on, click in, and then it says set Arc II on mounting stud and hold on. So go ahead and set this on top of this.
All right, so that. So which way on?
Yep, on, and then you put it over the stud. And then click, make sure it's level. Yep, click I'm ready. And then what it's going to do is it's going to use its pan motor to actually mount directly to the slider itself. Now you can pull out that tool again.
Yeah.
And then you have these slots down here, and just stick it into the slot and snug it up a little bit. And just just like that.
And which way am I pulling it? Like I'm turning it this way, righty-tighty?
Righty-tighty, you got it. Yep, now you're good. So that's how we mount on and how we mount off to things. So you don't have to spin it around. So same thing with the tripod or with the slider.
You know, I feel like there's probably a lot of people watching this that are like, it's kind of cool, like maybe a gimmick or whatever, but it's not. All of these little things add up to make me never want to use a product or make me want to use a product all the time. You know what I mean?
100%.
And so when something is just a little annoying, I'm like, just leave it. We'll just handhold it.
Yeah.
We'll just shoot with the mechanical slider. Like I don't want to get into all that. So it just works so good. And then I know this is kind of a similar idea here with this rotating knob that we have on the plate itself. So the issue is when you're trying to center mount this onto a tripod, you've got this super heavy off-weight thing. You're trying to line it up with the threads and then spin this whole thing, and it's falling off to the side and everything. Maybe you even have a camera on it.
Oh yeah.
And I would imagine here, you can now put this on top and just rotate this.
Exactly.
Why don't they all make it like that?
I don't know, man. One other thing with our longer sliders, something that's new about those is that we have 2 extra of these plates. So when people are using longer sliders, they mount at the 2 tripods.
Yes.
And that's even more of a pain in the butt to be able to get your slider on, because unless you have quick release plates, that's really the only good way to do it. But you're spinning your tripod on from the bottom, and then now you have to spin another one on the other side.
Right.
It's terrible, right? Because you're not spinning the slider anymore. Like that was manageable, right? And so now you basically just set up your tripods to the same height, you set your slider on top, you spin them down. It's workflow's everything, man.
It's so much better. Okay, what's next?
Okay. So this is how we do the cable routing. Since Arc II is powering everything The cable goes in front. I don't know if you used our arc system for a while. I don't know if you ever had the cable get stuck in between the rollers before.
Yeah.
It was a pain.
Yeah.
And so we paid pretty close attention to make this stay out of the way.
Okay.
Because it's powering this motor here.
Okay.
So.
All right, so I've got a Sony A7 III here.
Yeah.
I will put this plate on the bottom. The truth is, I can get it pretty freaking tight with just the little thing. Yeah, like I don't know that I need the tool, but hey, we got the tool. I'm going to use the tool.
There you go.
Oh, I can get it way tighter, way tighter with the tool. Okay.
Yeah. Not going to loosen up on you.
All right.
Before you put it on there, so one pain again that we're trying to solve is, especially with, I mean, the A7, what is this, A7 III?
Yes.
Okay. The bigger batteries that Sony came out with are way better than the old A7S, A7S II, the tiny ones that lasted like 45 minutes, right?
Right.
So if you've ever shot an interview with an A7S, you're changing batteries all the time,
right?
And it sucked. So same thing with time lapses. I shoot a lot of time lapses. Even with a battery grip, I can only get like max 3 hours probably with 2 of the small little Sony batteries.
Okay.
And so since we built such a big battery into this guy, you can actually tap into that with what's called a power adapter. So you can go ahead and put this guy in, and I'll show you where that plugs in on.
Now, is this an additional piece that you buy?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So that's what I brought for you is basically what we call the Essentials bundle.
The little flap here on the battery door. The cable just goes right out that.
Yeah.
Lock it down. And then where does this plug in?
So this plugs in your farthest port over here.
Got you. Now, how much battery life are we talking about here?
It's a good question. It depends on how many axes you have going. So if you have 4 axes and you're powering your camera, you're probably going to get about 3 hours from the unit. If you don't have your camera on there, you're going to get a couple extra hours. So if you're just powering pan tilt, you get about 8, and then it kind of goes down from there as you add more axes and accessories.
Okay. But if you were doing like what we do most of the time, we'll set one of these up, and it'll just slowly go back and forth during an interview.
Yep.
How much time are we talking there?
Let's say like 3 hours, 3-4 hours with the camera attached to it.
Okay, cool.
One thing to know is that you can run this off a main though. So you have the wall wart you can plug into it.
It's got a 12-volt jack right here. So you can plug this in. Is it capable of running and charging at the same time, or is it about even power usage?
It's about even.
Okay.
Yeah, the power draw is about even. So you're not going to charge it while it's on the main, but it's going to stay at the same battery level and power your camera.
Okay. What we did with our old one was we kept it plugged in all the time, and then when we weren't using it, it would charge it up and it'd be ready to go. If we needed to use it on location, it's always charged. But then while we were shooting on set, for the most part, it was just plugged in, so it kind of give you the best of both worlds. We probably don't need this right now. It's mostly filled.
Yep.
So what's the first step in setting up a move here?
Cool. Do you want to get focus on first?
Yeah. So focus accessory. So this is going to give us the ability to rack focus as we're moving as well.
Exactly. Okay. Exactly. One of the shots I've shared with you that I want to get while I'm here is it's basically a push-in with a super shallow depth of field, slow motion of a guy smoking a cigar.
Okay.
And so it's really hard to keep focus with a super shallow, say you're at 1.4, right, with like a 50mm lens. Like your focus plane is razor thin.
Yep.
And so that's where, if you're doing, especially with a push-in shot, all that's automated. All right, so with focus, you have your actual motor, you have a cable, and then you have a lens gear. And this, you can actually wrap around the lens to adapt it to have the standard .H cinema pitch that cinema lenses have. Tell
me about how this works with lenses that are focused by wire, and it's not as professional as a cinema lens and everything.
Yeah.
Is this going to remain accurate over a move?
Yeah, so when the camera powers up, it loses its focus by wire reference point. Yeah. So it's only from the same, I guess, power cycle on the camera that this will be accurate on. That's not really a problem because most of the shots that you're getting are all when the camera's on. And I'll show you in a second, but you basically use keyframes to set this up. So
I would imagine this flips out.
Yep, that flips out.
And this is going to slide right through here.
Yep, you got it.
And then this is just going to fit right into these
Yeah.
Gears right there. Is that good?
Yeah.
And then this just locks back
lock
like that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then.
Cool. And then this guy, you plug in next to your slider port. You can see there's another port there.
It says focus.
All right, so there's a few different modes in here. You have video mode, you have time-lapse mode, you have fluid view, which essentially lets you replace your fluid head with this thing. So if you forget your fluid head at home, you can use the joystick to get a cool pan tilt. It's not the primary use case, and you can even try it right now.
Yeah, I want to try that.
Okay, so first, before we do any kind of move, you got to calibrate the system.
Yeah.
So you make sure the brake's off, right?
And it's just going to hit the end.
It's going to hit the end, and it's going to say, "Hey, I'm good."
Okay.
So yeah, you can click in to change your speed for fluid view, but it's an extremely dampened profile. So yeah, give it a shot. And different people use the system differently, so you can have your hand around it. It's kind of designed to feel like a camera body in a way.
That is so smooth.
So if you want to go faster, you can click in and get fast speed, or you can click in again and get slow speed.
The truth is, a lot of times when we need pan shots now, we shoot in 4K and then we punch in and do it in post. Because it's so much more reliable in post. Okay. And we love these super cheapo pan heads. They're so small, that's why we like them.
Yeah.
But they're horrible. They're like the cheapest money can buy, you know? And we like them because they're easy to travel with. But this, I mean, this is better than the most expensive fluid head I've ever used. I've used $3,000 pan heads and they feel great. They do not feel like this. This is wild. And does this tilt as well?
Yeah.
From this?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And you can do both at the same time too.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Okay, that's a feature that I had no idea that it could do.
Yep,
so
it's just
awesome.
It's one of those little things that hopefully can help you replace gear, travel lighter. One thing that you do want to make sure, if you buy both motors, you want to make sure you select it in the settings. So when you first get the unit, it's going to prompt you and say like, hey, what motors do I have? What size of slider I am? And so
there are different motors?
Yeah. So you're using the high speed right now. We'll show it go.
Oh.
There's one other one that's a high torque motor and it lets you go vertical.
Oh, so this one does not go vertical?
Correct.
I see. Okay,
Correct.
So you have one or the other.
It's one or the other. Yep. Okay. Or a lot of our customers are buying both right now. They want the option to do both.
Okay. And so high speed is going to be better for videographers, but then.
Yeah. I mean, I tell people essentially if you're going to go vertical at all, buy a high torque. But for most use cases, it's a lot slower than the high speed. And as we get into keyframe setup and move setup, it's kind of a pain because you're waiting for it to go to the end.
Oh, I see.
So it's more of a specialized motor for vertical and incline use. Jump into video and keyframe setup.
Okay.
So click in on video, and then this is what I was telling you before, where this main joystick is your pan tilt. The front joystick is slider and focus. So if you move it laterally, so like pull that joystick right, it's going to move the slider around.
This has a great ramp feeling as well here.
So one thing you'll notice with the joystick though is that it is ramped less when you're setting up keyframes because we want it to be more accurate. We don't want it to drift and to keep moving.
And this knows exactly how long this is. Like I was expecting it to ram into the end. It does not. It goes, exactly. I'm holding it and it just perfectly ramps to the end.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to start a move over here on this side and then we'll end over there.
Then if you want to change focus at all, you can move up and down on that front joystick and that's going to change your focus.
Oh, look at that. That's wild. Now, I'm not going to set up a shot right now because we're in like a black studio with a big light. But in theory, we'll set it up right there. We will point the camera up at that light. And then, okay, so I click this button to set a keyframe?
Yep. And now it's kind of like a sandbox world. You can go anywhere on the slider you want to set up your next keyframe.
And we'll end down here like that. Okay, so I assume I click in?
Yep, click in. Now you set your duration. So if you want to change that, you can click in 6 seconds is pretty fast.
Now, is it possible to do multiple keyframes, more than 2 keyframes?
So we're working on it.
Okay. I've never actually needed to do that, but I've seen some people do crazy stuff.
Exactly. There's a couple new features that we're coming out with. One is multiple keyframes. We're going to get 3 done, and then we'll get up to 5 done is the goal. Another feature that'll be out in about 2 weeks is called fast focus. So let's say you are doing a reveal shot. Let's say there's a couch right here, and your subject is behind the couch, and you reveal from around the couch. But your first focus point is on the couch, your second is on your subject. If you do that with 2 keyframes, your subject's only going to be in focus at the very end of your move. Right. Same thing with stars. So like when I'm doing time lapses, my anecdote I've used is I always want to do a flower to mountain time lapse, day to night, 4-axis. So like during the day, I'm on a flower, and then it gets dark out, and then I see the Milky Way, and that's in focus.
Yes.
So with fast focus, it allows you to only use 2 keyframes, but it makes your subject be in focus in the middle of the move, not at the end. So it's a quick little cheat, instead of doing 3 keyframes. So that'll be out in about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Multiple keyframes are coming after that.
Okay, so I'm going to choose just 6 seconds. I want this to be as fast as possible, just because I want to see how this thing goes. So I'm going to click in here.
Click in, and then you're ready to go. So it's a similar setup to our last, where it moves to start, and then you can press start again, and your move is going to go.
Oh, I see.
Yep. So
now, one thing that it did not ask me about that it's doing naturally is the ramping.
Yeah.
So what's the story with that?
That's in the main settings. So you have to back out. But right now it doesn't do a whole lot. In a firmware update, say in about 3 months from now, that'll actually do a lot more.
Yeah. Do you have any idea? I mean, this is ridiculously fast. We would never set something like this up for an interview.
Yeah.
But how long do you think that this can do this quickly, back and forth?
We could literally cut to like an iPhone timer next to
this. Yeah, I'd prefer to not do that. Maybe we can like go out on the boat tomorrow and we'll just set this and let it go, and we'll film for a while. But
in our tests, I'd give this about 3 hours.
Wow. Okay, so basically, I mean, all day for most people. I mean, you're not going to be actually doing this for 3 hours. You're going to be doing this on and off throughout the day.
Exactly.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And this is what we normally use your slider for. Much slower.
Yeah.
But just doing interview stuff. Occasionally, we do time lapses.
Okay.
And when we do time lapses, we're kind of lazy, so we don't do like the 6-hour time lapses. We do like a 20-minute time lapse or whatever. So a lot of times we're actually in video mode, and we just kind of set it slow, and it just takes a few minutes.
Sure.
But if you want to do it right, the right way to do it is to go into time-lapse mode, and I would imagine that this thing can control the camera, and it's actually choosing when to take pictures, and you can do this over the course of hours and everything. So how does that work?
Exactly. So the move setup is exactly the same, but you have some different options before you start your move. So you have shutter speed. Your exposure is really your primary goal in your workflow of time-lapse. If you're exposing for the Milky Way, there's a preview move setting in there. So if you set up your time-lapse, you don't want to wait 6 hours, 3 hours to see it.
Right.
So you can preview it in real time. The goal with this is, there's so much more you can do. Like we haven't even gotten into the app yet, or the face tracking.
Face track. Yeah, that was one of these crazy features. I'm like,
exactly.
Oh my gosh, it's like cameraman in itself now. What do you want to talk about next? Maybe we should talk about the app next.
I'll let you play with this. So this is a very similar process to what we did here, except you have trackpads to use.
No way.
And then this trackpad is your focus.
Now, how is this connecting? Is this Bluetooth, Wi-Fi?
This is all the Bluetooth. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, be straight with me. How often does this disconnect and completely stop working?
Never.
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 I'm going to do a 10-second duration here, and I'll just hit start. Loop is on. Trackpad is disabled while move is in progress. That makes sense. You were telling me earlier that you prefer using the app. Is that true? I mean, do you feel like there's a benefit to using the app?
So I might actually take that back. Whenever I set up a time lapse, I don't get out my phone.
Okay.
I naturally do what's easier, and for me, using the onboard controls is easier.
Yeah.
There's another mode in here. If we go into remote mode, so you can hold it like this, and we can just automatically loop the slider to, say, a medium speed. Now, if I wanted to respond to a shot in real time, and you're not with your camera, you're able to use the trackpads to control, let's see, okay, here's pan and tilt, to control pan and tilt in real time.
Wait. So you're saying like you're recording a video,
sure,
and you just want, without touching the camera, you're just controlling it like a remote control.
Exactly.
And getting the perfect shots that you want, like we were talking about earlier with perfect pan and tilt and everything.
Yeah, because the keyframe mode is more of a repeatable, like that's not going to be a real-time thing. You're not going to use that as a bride's walking down the aisle.
Right.
You know, a mode like this where you want to have that smooth motion and the linear movement and even a focus pull, you can do all that here.
This opens up so many doors for putting this in some wacky area that you can't reach.
Yeah.
Is there a way to monitor it from the app?
Soon.
Really?
Soon. So we have an app called Time-lapse that connects to your camera over Wi-Fi and can actually pull a real-time feed. And we use that for, I don't know if you've done a Holy Grail or Day to Night time-lapse.
I've attempted many.
Okay, so that app automates all that.
Okay.
You connect to your camera over Wi-Fi, you do your exposure thing, you do your duration and how long you want it to be, press go, and then it monitors that and adjusts your camera's ISO and shutter speed to just do it perfectly for you. So that's on the App Store right now. So we have that tech to be able to get that live feed. So we're playing with, we have a feature request page on our website. So like we want to know like ideas like this, so people can upvote them. But one of them, a guy was saying, dude, if I could use my phone with the accelerometer, so if I could push in and move the slider, and then pan and tilt to control it, and have a live feed right there.
Yeah.
It'd be like a digital window to another world, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is what they're doing for the new Avatar movie. I'm watching them walk around with like, they don't even have a camera.
It renders everything in real time too. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, it's crazy. So that's I can't promise anything, but that's the goal.
Okay, so let's talk about the face tracking next. Now, one thing that I have been really enjoying as a Panasonic shooter, like we have horrible consistent autofocus.
Okay.
So we just don't use it. But the Sony is amazing.
Yes.
So for the first time ever, without anyone manning the camera, I can kind of like walk around a room, I can get close to the camera and far back, it's gonna focus on my eye, it's super reliable.
Mm-hmm.
So I would imagine with this,
yes,
now it's like we have the best of both worlds. We have the perfect autofocus with the perfect tracking and reframing as well.
Exactly.
I'll believe it when I see it, Kyle. It sounds too good to be true. But the truth is, I would imagine that the eye autofocus on the Sony camera is way more difficult to pull off than what this app is that you're doing. Like, you're not trying to get the most accurate eye autofocus ever. You're just trying to find a face and keep it in the frame.
I have no idea how they do that. Because you talk about small companies and big companies, like that is next level.
Yeah.
I have zero idea how that works.
Okay.
All right, let's mount our guy.
That might be the best feature of the whole product.
Dude,
it's so crazy.
That's I did the same demo with a bunch of people at NAB, and that's what they said. I was kind of pissed because I'm like this can do so much more, and you think that the mounting is the best part.
It's like the tip calculator on Seinfeld, where like it has other features. I know, but now I don't have to do the math of the tip.
All right, so I got tracking set up on you right now. I have what's called reframe up, which I can basically point where I want you in the frame.
Okay.
So if I want you over here, you can be in that third, or if I want you over here, you can be in that third.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna center you up for kind of centered. That looks pretty good. So right now tracking is set to fast.
Okay.
So
can I move?
Do your best, dude.
Are you recording on the Sony?
I'm recording. I don't think it's gonna fall over.
It is so crazy. The future is here. Now can I go up? Yes, I can. That's wild. And is the Sony focusing on my face too? Is autofocus on? Like, is it getting all this?
Yeah.
That's so wild. I'm just blown away. I mean, you seem like a relatively smart guy.
I'm not that smart.
That's the thing. You seem like a normal dude. Like, how the heck did you build this? I mean,
that's so funny.
I think a lot of people think that like every one of our videos, like, everything's sponsored and like you're acting or whatever. I was not acting when I saw your first slider. This is so much better, but I just don't understand, how are you outdoing these gigantic companies? You're making, like, there are sliders out there that cost tens of thousands of dollars, and I feel like this is way better. Why do they suck so bad?
We have a great team, man. We have a great team.
I guess. I need to get a great team. I mean, it's just crazy. I would just think that you'd need to be like airy or something to build something like this.
Sure.
So you need to build the new Rhino slider that's smart enough to take over your team members, and then it can just be you and the AI coming together.
It's like Elon Musk's dream. Right?
Exactly.
Doesn't need people.
Exactly. So I'm honestly blown away by this. I think it's awesome. I think the one thing that's going to bring this back down to reality is the price. I honestly have no idea what this costs.
Sure.
And
sure.
I would imagine it's significantly more than the previous Rhino Evo with the Arc. I mean, it can do so much more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So lay it on me.
It's a bit more.
Okay.
It's a bit more. So the
how much
old
does this
system,
cost?
to compare,
Yeah.
you were in $600 for a slider,
Yep.
and about $1,000 for the Motion and Arc kit, which gave you 2 axes.
Right.
So Arc II, so this box that powers everything is $1,400.
Okay.
Slider's still $600.
Okay.
Motor's about $250.
Okay.
So they're about $2,350 for our base bundle with the Arc II and a motor.
Okay. And that does not come with the.
So Focus is an extra $300.
Okay.
Yeah, you're a bit more, $800 more in the system, but you get a lot more axes and a lot more features for the price.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, there's a couple other things that you've brought along. Like, I would imagine you're not selling this. There's probably no reason to sell that. This has your name on it. The iPhone mount, you are selling that. How much do you think that's going to be?
About $30.
$30. You had a dummy battery for this Sony.
$30.
$30 for that. Is there anything else that you sell that people might want? Like, does the case come with?
Case comes with the bundles.
Okay.
So if you get a bundle, case comes with it. You can either do a bundle or you can just piece it all together and build it your own.
Okay.
We do have a hard shell case that I referenced earlier, which solves the need for a lot of people that are doing a lot of air travel that want the longer slider. Because before there was no good way to bring that with you.
What about people who currently own the Rhino Slider Evo?
Yeah.
They love it, they're happy with it, but they like this better.
Yeah.
Is there any way to put them together?
Yeah, so it's backwards compatible. So if you want to use your old motor and your old slider, you can do that.
Wait, you can use your old motor with the Arc II?
So this will power your old Evo motor.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so we could put that on that system that you have.
But it's not, it's going to hit, when it gets over to the side, it would hit that.
We have what we call an edge buffer. So when you select your motor, you can say Evo motor.
Oh.
And it'll stop just shy of it so you don't hit it.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would save people how much money?
$250 there.
For the motor. And
you can use your old slider.
Yeah.
You could upgrade your rails if you want the new tripod quick mount.
Oh, yeah, you want that.
You really want that. A lot of people really want that.
Now, where can people buy this?
So we're on B&H, Adorama, our own website, Amazon.
Is it better for you guys if people buy directly from you?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right. So if you want to help the little guy,
help the small company,
and
that's
it's
doing
not.
some
I mean,
cool stuff.
I'm telling you guys, this is, it's one of the most impressive products I've ever seen a small company make, ever. Like, you've been telling me about some other product ideas that you want to make that are outside of the photo and video world, and I'm so excited. Like, he needs to be far more successful than he is, because these products are like world-class products that really have no competition, and yet a team of 3 or 10 people is making them here in the United States. Unbelievable. So I wish you all the best of luck. I think it's time now. We need to head outside. We need to figure out some places to actually shoot with this. We'll see you guys soon in the next video when we actually put this to the test.